there. I'm Shauna Robbins, founder and CEO of Third Spark. And today I am doing an Authority Magazine interview, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Kelly Casperson. She's a urologist, an educator, and a top international podcaster whose mission is to empower women to live their best love lives. In her podcast, You Are Not Broken, she combines science, humor, and candor to dismantle the myths that women have learned about sex, intimacy, midlife, and hormones. Her best-selling book, The Menopause Moment, Dr. Casperson gives women the tools to embrace this life stage with confidence and knowledge. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's dive right in. I want to hear all about your new book, and then we can talk about the importance of, all the other good things, vaginal estrogen, testosterone, all the things that women need at this time, this
All the
stage of
good
the
things.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the Menopause Moment is my second book. And I wrote the first book is really about like adult female sex ed, right? Because we got disease and pregnancy prevention plans if we were lucky, but we didn't really get taught about like how sex actually works and how to think about it. And so the publishers were like, "Will you write another book about sex?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I kind of want to write a book about menopause." And so they're like, "Great, write that." And so that's what this book is about. It's really, I think of this book as like the 201 in the college level. Like, this is for the woman who's like, I know what menopause is, but what's the toolkit? What's the science? What's the data? So it really goes through all of the hormones, leads with testosterone. Testosterone's the first, not the last hormone mentioned in the book. And then really talks about like protein, muscle mass, what supplements are good, what supplements are bullshit, the mindset, right? And really how to clean up society's bias of you're too old, you're done, you're blah blah blah. Of like, no, no, no. This is called the middle for a reason, and that's a really positive outlook. What do you want to do to keep going? And really empowering women to be like, listen, you've probably been taking care of other people. It's go time. So it's really, science, hormones, muscles, exercise, and mindset to live longevity the best you can.
God, I love it. Is it already out in bookstores or is it more?
September 16th in America. Pre-order is available now at most major pre-order sites, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc. And then Australia, Canada, and UK, September 18th.
Fantastic. I can't wait to get a copy. Okay, so as I told you before when we started, sleep is my jam. This is what I do. I help women who can't sleep, especially in midlife. And so I really want to understand from you the value of vaginal estrogen in helping women that have, urinary incontinence, urgency and bladder, all of these things that tend to keep women up in the middle of the night. So talk to me about the power and whether or not it causes cancer and the black box warning and all this stuff that you're fighting for. Give me kind of the lay of the land of what you think
Yeah.
about this.
So I mean, I came into it really kind of backwards because I'm a urologist, and then urologists focus on the bladder, and we focus on bladder leakage. And what happens in midlife and beyond is something called overactive bladder or urge bladder leakage or urge incontinence are all the words we use. And when I was in training, I was told we don't know why this happens. Is it because the bladder muscle gets hyperactive? Is it because the nerves are wearing out? We don't know. And the classic thing to give people with bladder that wants to pee too much is a nasty medication called an anticholinergic, which has a whole host of side effects. And it helps not very well. And now here I am as like the sexual med expert and the menopause expert. And it's like there's zero reason we should be asking why is this happening? We have estrogen receptors everywhere in our bodies, including urethra, vagina, vulva, bladder. And as the hormones go down, the tissues misbehave.
Mm.
And to back it up even further for people who need it, all hormones are chemical messengers in the body that go from one place to another place to help those cells function. That's it. Demystifying the scariness of hormones. They're just chemical messengers that help your mitochondria and your nerves and your muscles function better. So now knowing that, you can say, oh, well, if those things went down, maybe those things don't function as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we know that the bladder muscle, called the trigone, has estrogen receptors in it. And they've done these studies now where they've blocked the estrogen receptors and the muscle gets spastic, meaning urgency, frequency, burning when you pee. I have to get up at night now to pee. More prone to urinary tract infections because your microbiome actually changes in your vagina when the estrogen goes away. And you need just like you need a healthy microbiome everywhere, you need a healthy microbiome in the vagina. because it acts as a barrier between the poop bugs and the bladder. So you want a healthy microbiome in the vagina. That's what decreases your risk of urinary tract infections. And that was the other thing. In training, we're like, we don't know why some people get more urinary tract infections than other people. Now we know. Rates skyrocket perimenopause, postmenopause, and the years postmenopause. Because a lot of women will say, well, my last period was 7 years ago. What do you mean this is because of low hormones? And the reason is most women don't know what menopause actually is. They think it's a hot flash and no more periods. Menopause is actually a profound lowering of your hormones, a medical term for its hypogonadism. So even if you never had a hot flash, your pelvic structures will change over time because you don't have hormones. So cheap and easy thing to do is just give the pelvis back what it's missing and what it had when it functioned better when you were 32 years old is vaginal estrogen. So vaginal estrogen is low dose. We call it non-systemic. Your brain won't see it, your bones don't see it. It doesn't treat hot flashes, it won't protect your bones, but it helps the vagina, the vulva, the urethra, the bladder, the microbiome. It's basically skincare for down there, which is a patented trademarked thing, not that I didn't do, but it's basically skincare for down there
Okay.
and decreases urinary tract infections by 50 to 60%. Nothing works better. Decreases the risk of sepsis from UTIs, death from UTIs, and hospitalizations from urinary tract infections. And this is the best medication for urinary tract infections. And also, getting back to sleep calms that overactive bladder. So
Mhm.
nocturia is called getting up at night to pee. One time a night is considered normal. Over the age of 65, 2 times or less a night is considered normal. So anybody who's gotten used to 4 times a night, that's not normal, even if you're used to it. Be quite disruptive to sleep. In addition, people are at risk for falling,
Right.
right? You're waking up, you're sleepy, you got to rush to the bathroom so you don't leak, boom, fall. Bladder leakage is one of the top reasons that people enter nursing homes.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, as far as moving the conversation on hormones as prevention, I think it's going to be a while before we say that for systemic hormones, but most of the experts will agree vaginal estrogen is preventative healthcare and worth it.
Yeah, my grandmother died of a UTI.
Yep.
She was in a
And
nursing
and,
home and
and
had
these
chronic
women,
UTIs.
yep.
And I feel like now, I wish we had known then, that just vaginal estrogen would have helped her survive longer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this 2025 has been really great because I think it's because of all the female urologists who are starting to churn out this data, because this is female urologist data that women with recurrent UTIs who are on vaginal estrogen have decreased risk of death, decreased risk of sepsis, decreased risk of, ICU hospital admission.
Mm.
So there and Rachel Rubin did the paper that if Medicare gave every Medicare recipient with a vagina vaginal estrogen, it would save Medicare around $13 billion a year just in reduced urinary tract infection costs.
Wow.
Yeah. And the data that we have now, about 4% of women are on hormones. Like we have a big needle to move.
Mm.
Because people just think UTIs are normal.
And they become the antibiotics, their bodies become resistant to the antibiotics, and there's no way to treat them.
And
And
yeah, antibiotics have legitimate side effects too.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So I love that this is now coming to light. I love that you're bringing this to light. This is really empowering for women, especially
Oh
women
yeah. I
in their
mean,
later
so
years.
when women come to me, they're like, "Well, what do I do the next time I get a UTI?" And I'm like, "That's not how we're going to think about it. We're going to think about what can I do to not get another UTI?" And it's just really changing the narrative of like this passive, what happens when it happens again, to this like, what can you do to mitigate it, to decrease the risk of happening? And I always, I tell people, I'm like, as long as you're alive, we have a risk of having an infection.
Mhm.
Really, really can decrease that risk by taking care of our pelvis. And our pelvis simply likes having the hormones that it had before menopause.
So how many days a week do you recommend that women use
Yeah.
vaginal?
So baseline standard prescription is twice a week. So if they're on an estrogen patch, a twice a week estrogen, I'm like, just put in your vaginal estrogen when you change your estrogen patch. And I like to joke and I say like, do it as much as you floss because that's usually twice a week. But some people floss more and less.
Uh-huh.
You just got to pick 2 days, Sunday, Thursday, whatever. Pick something that you like. Some women need more than that, especially if they're not on systemic hormone therapy. But even women who are on systemic hormone therapy, the data that we have, about 30% of them still need vaginal estrogen.
Hmm.
Systemic hormone replacement therapy is still very, very low dose amounts, and the pelvis just needs some of its own.
Hmm. Okay, that's great. That's really important. All right, so let's change direction and talk about libido. Let's talk about sex drive. Let's talk about testosterone and the power of testosterone. So, give me an idea here of ways, testosterone is kind of like, I don't know, like the redheaded stepchild in the family. Like it's not
Like
really
in my
looked
book,
at.
yeah, in my book, I call it the forgotten quarterback.
There you go. Like it, I mean, I know we were talking before this. Like when I put my testosterone on in the morning, I get so much done. I'm so productive. My brain is clear. I'm focused. I'm energized. I just, it makes such a difference in the way that I feel in my body. And this is completely outside of any, libido, sexuality, any of this stuff. It's like I feel just so much more motivated
Yeah.
when I'm using testosterone.
Yeah, the important thing to do when talking to anybody about female testosterone is you always have to take a couple of steps back. Because if you don't educate people and say, like, testosterone's made in ovaries and adrenal glands,
Mhm.
women make 4 times the amount of testosterone than estrogen. We have testosterone receptors all over our body. Another big myth is it only converts to estrogen.
Mm,
No, we have 4 times the amount of estrogen, which means 75% of it's staying testosterone and not converting, right? And so it's working on testosterone receptors. It's not just there to make estrogen. The other thing women don't know is you can't have estrogen in your body without testosterone making it. That's the cholesterol pathway. That's how it works.
mm,
You got to cleave a carbon and aromatize it, and now you have estradiol.
mm.
So you have to have that background info because if you just see a clip of like, Dr. Casperson thinks everybody should be on testosterone, it's like, no, I don't. I think they should be educated about their bodies
Mm.
and they can make the right decision for them. But otherwise, people will think like, are you trying to change somebody into a man? Like, are you trying to give, like, they don't understand the gender bias that we've given to testosterone and estrogen has made it seem like male bodies have this, female bodies have this, and that's not true at all. So testosterone's really, I mean, we've been giving testosterone to women since the 1940s. So the more you learn about it, the more you realize how incredibly ridiculous it is that they say that we don't have an FDA approved one, right? So we're pushing women to higher doses out of pocket. Insurance doesn't cover things that aren't FDA approved. Like there's so many barriers
Okay.
to this. Testosterone got labeled as, a DEA Schedule 2 in New York, Schedule 3 everywhere else because of the Olympic doping scandals of the 1980s, right? So it makes it telehealth makes it a problem and across state lines. Like there's so many barriers to testosterone. Sometimes I'm like, why am I the expert on like the most difficult thing? Like, but it's because I see women, and you're a prime example of like women know when they feel better and
Mhm.
feeling better and feeling like yourself. Like, of course, libido is gonna, happen. And I think the other thing about libido and testosterone, first of all, a lot of women's libido gets better on estrogen,
Mm,
right? And so, but nobody really says, oh, estrogen's only for libido, right?
mm.
It's just so much more researched. And so the stereotype is this testosterone of like, I got plenty of women, they throw on their estrogen patch and they're like, I'm good. Sex life is great. Thank you very much. Right. So libido's not like one hormone. And the other thing is like libido doesn't exist in this 1 square inch of your brain that testosterone only acts on, right? That's not how libido works. Libido is incredibly complicated. But in general, if you're sleeping better, if your energy is better, if your self-confidence is better, if you're feeling better in your body, libido naturally rises, right? When you're feeling shitty, you don't really want to have sex.
True.
Very simple.
Yep.
So, one thing that bothers me is people who are like, it's only indicated for libido, which makes it sound like it's only for libido or it doesn't work for anything else.
Mm.
And but the way medicine works, we have 4 countries with their FDA approved female testosterones, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and the UK. And their indication, because like us, they have FDA approval, is hypoactive sexual desire disorder, the medical term for low libido.
Got it.
But that's a problem because doctors aren't really good at talking about sex,
Hmm.
right? So I have a lot of Australian women who've been denied testosterone because they're single.
Oh.
Horrific patriarchal bias. So as you saw, the FDA, one of my requests is like get a female testosterone dose for multiple reasons, but one of them is get it indicated for low hormones, not for low libido, because insurance doesn't cover things for low libido, and doctors aren't great at talking about low libido. So it's just more barriers to women seeking care.
And what about eyes? We touched on testosterone.
Yeah, isn't that
Eyes.
great? Did
Yeah.
you know about that before you heard
No,
about a
not
person?
until my mother got a prescription from an ophthalmologist for testosterone for her eyes.
Yeah,
That was
that's
a
that's
new thing
that's
for me.
advanced. Yeah, there was just a paper studied or published on testosterone drops. I think it was for dry eyes. Was that what it was for? Did you see that?
I didn't. I was just hoping that you could kind of
Yeah.
enlighten me a little bit on
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it just goes to like we have testosterone receptors everywhere in our bodies.
Hmm.
And I think we're in this amazing time where it's like, let's go back to useful, safe, simple solutions that are affordable instead of like making up these expensive drugs that like, hey, maybe just a little bit of hormones back in your body is actually going to help.
I love that. I
I
love
mean, that's
that.
the thing with sleep, right? Like, look what happened with the sleep drugs in women.
Yeah.
That was horrific. We didn't study them in women, and then we gave them the same doses, and they fell over and they died and they got in car accidents. Like
Right.
horrible, horrible things. Or they're addicted and they can't get off of them.
Right.
Right? And we're like, progesterone actually works really well.
It does. I will attest to
Estrogen and testosterone's interesting with sleep because some women will sleep like they'll say like testosterone is what made me sleep.
it. Mhm.
Like I have women there, like she's like a huge dose of Ambien and then started on testosterone and is now sleeping. And
Hmm.
she had already been on estrogen. And then some people it's too stimulating, they can't sleep with testosterone. So testosterone's interesting. I don't think we have enough data on sleep and testosterone yet.
Well, and like you said, it also comes back to knowing your body. Like I
Yeah.
know how I feel when I'm on it, and I wouldn't take it in the evening.
You wouldn't take it at night.
Or
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
evening.
Like if it's stimulating, take it
Right.
early.
Like I say, it's better than a cup of coffee. For me, that's how it is in my body. That's not necessarily true for anybody else.
Yep.
So, when it comes down to it, there's no one size fits all. And I think that's the most important thing here. But like you said, educating yourself and becoming your own advocate are the two most important things you can do.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's fun.